Guy chased us home last year. I was going out for drinks with my friends, but since I had to go to uni the next day I only stayed till around midnight. My boyfriend promised to pick me up and go home with me, because I don't like to take the subway alone at night, but since I was pretty drunk by then, I took a little too long walking out of the pub. Unfortunately, we had to wait for the night bus, with multiple stops, since the subway closes on weekdays at night. For context, my boyfriend and I don't live together but very close to each other, around 15 to 20 minutes walking distance. Both areas are pretty shitty. He lives near a train station, many crackheads. Homeless and sketchy people around, and I live in cheap, bad district with a high crime rate. My building has 2 entrances on 2 different streets because it is a corner building site leading to a patio and then to the apartment building and its doors. To get into my apartment I have to open 3 doors. I usually use the entrance door that is nearer to the subway and on the side of my apartment. We had to take 2 buses to go home. One drove us to the train station and the next one from the train station to my apartment. After getting out of the first bus we realized that we would have to wait for around 20 minutes or something for the second bus to come, and since I really had to sleep at home, class the next day, I didn't want to stay at his place. My boyfriend didn't want to wait, so he persuaded me to walk instead of taking the bus, which sober me would have never done, but since I was still drunk I didn't care how we got home, so I agreed. So, we started to walk home and passed a few sketchy people, mostly people selling drugs etc., but nothing really bad. Then I saw a guy walking in our direction and I somehow got a bad feeling, so I told my boyfriend that I wanted to change to the other side of the street because I didn't want to walk past him. Suddenly the guy yelled, "Hey!" as if he wanted to ask us something, but we ignored it and continued to walk. He got louder and louder until he started to yell. I could see from the corner of my eye that he was coming over, so I whispered, "Run," to my boyfriend, took his hand and ran the fastest I could while he was chasing us. We ran and then made a turn to the right, the street where I live, and hid. It seemed like he was gone, so I took my keys out and we started running towards my building, taking the other entrance of my building that I normally didn't use. As I was trying to open the door my boyfriend started panicking, throwing me inside the patio and closing the door aggressively and then pushing me to the building. He explained that the guy came running from the other side of the street, meaning he took a shortcut. Probably thinking we were going to run to the subway bus stops? If we had taken the other entrance he would have been clearly the faster one. Being in shock, we unfortunately didn't call the police, which I regret. I stopped going out for drinks, clubbing for half a year after this and slept at my boyfriend's place for 2 weeks, because I was scared that he would come back. I think the worst thing about this is, that he really wanted to get us for whatever reason. I still want to know why he chased us for so long. 2 weeks later a girl a few streets away was raped in front of her building by a guy who chased her home. I wonder if it was the same guy or just a coincidence. Thieves tried to shoot me in the head when I was 15. This story goes back to the year 2015. It was around 8 p.m. and it was summer, so at that time it was just getting dark. I live in a town where a crime almost never happens. It is a very safe rural area with few people. Here all the shops close early, so that night I went shopping around 7:40 and everything was quiet. I didn't have enough money to pay, so I bought, and when I got home I had to go out again to take the rest of the money I needed to pay to the store. I was listening to music. I had bought new headphones and was trying them out. I was walking 2 blocks from my house when a motorcycle with 2 men came out of nowhere. The man behind got out and took out a gun, pointed it at my head and started yelling at me to give him my things. I was paralyzed, but I managed to yell no. He yelled at me again to give him my cell phone. He yelled, "Give me everything, give me everything," and I just squeezed my cell phone and headphones and yelled, "No, no, these are my things," over and over again. The whole time was pointed at my face from a meter away or less than meter. When the guy with the gun saw I wouldn't give them anything he fired. I saw very clearly how he pulled the trigger on the gun. He got on the motorcycle with the other man and they left at full speed. I didn't get shot at. I don't know if it was a real gun or fake. If it had bullets in it or not I don't know anything, plus it was just after dark, but it is the most terrifying experience I've ever had. As soon as they left I ran out and got to the store where I was going first. I arrived crying and shaking. It was hard for me to speak. I asked for help and they called my mom, who came to pick me up in a taxi because I didn't want to walk home even though it was 4 streets away. That was the first and last time I experienced a robbery attempt. It was the most damn stressful situation I've ever been through. I don't know how to describe the absolute panic I felt when I saw the barrel of a gun in front of my eyes. And all for a cheap fucking cell phone and some headphones. God. They didn't give a shit about a girl's life, they put a fucking gun to my face. I wish that no one has to go through this, much less children. I was lucky, but many are not, especially in the city to which my town belongs, where this is common currency. Thank you for reading. I don't speak English, I do the best I can. Sorry for the mistakes. Me and a friend and a man with a gun. This happened when I was 12 or 13. Back then, late 80s, there was a curfew for anyone under age. I don't know if that still exists, but it matters for the story. Me, F, and my BFF, F, would walk the neighborhood at night. She would spend the night a lot at my house, and me at hers vice versa, most weekends. We would crawl through my bedroom window and walk around and visit our middle school friends or just go to the park or whatever. We were well aware of the curfew and would run and hide from headlights as we didn't want to get caught. One night we're doing our thing, see some headlights and run under a carport. The car pulls into the driveway we're hiding in. Guy gets out, starts yelling, "You trying to rob me?" So we run. My friend runs one way, I run the other way. I hear her scream. I look back and see she's caught, she has her hands up. I realize that I can't leave her there by herself, so I walk over, with my hands up, saying it's okay, we're just kids. Then I see the man has a gun. He's pointing the gun at her and she is hyperventilating. I walk up trying to explain that we aren't trying to do anything crazy, just running from possible cops. He points the gun at me. He's saying something about us trying to rob him. I'm like, no dude. We were hiding from possible cops because of curfew. He made us pull our shirts up to show, supposedly, that we had no weapons. But we were 13 years old, so, thinking back, he might have just been a perv. He let us leave after that. This was 30 years ago. I often wonder what would have happened if I just kept running. I also wonder what would have happened if I or my friend had told an adult about it. I mean, it was a few streets from my house, he could have been identified. Or maybe we were, ultimately, the bad guys.